Formal training has failed us in many ways. One of those ways is that it has focused on cramming information into our heads, sometimes in large quantities. For almost everyone, that's not only exhausting, but it's also ineffective. Real-life learning only happens when we engage three things: the heart, the head, and the hands. First, for real learning to take place, we need to believe in its purpose. If we don't see it as necessary or helpful, we won't see a need to pay attention and actually apply what we're being taught. We must understand why it's important and believe it. When we train others, it's our job to show people that what they're about to learn is really important and should be taken seriously. That's the heart part. Second, once the purpose and importance is understood and believed, we can now focus on the actual information. We can move from the heart to the head. One of the reasons that real change is so elusive is just a basic lack of knowledge. Think about it. When we don't know how to do something, we tend to avoid it, procrastinate, and maybe even hope it goes away. That's why we try to focus on fundamentals. What's the main idea? What are the basic steps or techniques? How do I actually do the thing that we're talking about? You see, we should not overcomplicate things. When things get complicated, our chances of doing them goes way, way down. The best way to get information into our heads is to first believe it's important, as I said, and then grasp a few basic techniques, actions, or process steps. That's the head part. Okay, so let's assume that we have the thing in our hearts. We understand why it's important and we agree. We also now have the information in our heads. We have the knowledge of what to do and how to do it. The only thing left to do to ensure that training isn't a complete waste of time is to get the idea from our hearts and our heads into our hands. You see, one of the reasons we don't see change happen after training is because there's no focus on practice. I mean, we may actually believe something is important and receive good step-by-step instructions on what to do and how to do it. But the magic happens when we put it into practice. Can you imagine getting comfortable with or even good at something without practicing? Try performing a violin solo or hitting a jump shot with time expiring without extensive practice. This should be done as part of the training process. Every learning opportunity should focus on practice, role-playing, and real-life application of the thing we're learning about. That's how we get the concept to move from our heads and into our hands. In our programs, participants use the skills during and immediately after each workshop. Ultimately, what we want is some sort of change after a training session or learning experience, right? I mean, why do it to ourselves or put our people through it if nothing is done differently afterwards? True transformational change only happens when we're trained the way adults learn, and what we're learning is infused into our hearts, our heads, and our hands. That's real-life learning that works.